doing, everybody, and welcome into Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage. We're coming back on a Wednesday, a brisk. Oh my goodness, is it brisk? We got, like, I kid you not, there's about 30 to 40 mile per hour winds out right now. The snow is blowing across. It is nasty outside right now, but hey, we're persevering. That's what we do, right? It's supposed to dip into the negatives tonight here, and I am just loving it already. So.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, it's a heck of a time in the state of Wisconsin. But hey, it's a heck of a time. We got a lot of good sports going on. Bucks currently on a pretty good burner right now. Badger basketball did cool off a little bit last night. We're going to talk about that. Packers Lions coming up tomorrow night. Can't wait for that rematch there. And then we got some other things to get into, Badger football and a little bit more. I got Aaron with me tonight here. Aaron, how we doing on this Wednesday?
Dude, finally. I mean, you take it for granted when you're not sick to like being sick. Like that is just such a buzzkill at times. And then when you kind of come out of it, you're like, wow, not to say that I was never going to come out of it, but it's at points, it's like, man, can't wait to feel just normal. So people, I mean, I don't want to be dramatic, right? There's people on freaking life support and stuff like that. Like your health is one of those things, just never take it for granted though, regardless, because you don't know how lucky you are just to be normal or like feel relatively well. So just coming out of that, I'm grateful that, I'm back to almost, 100% getting there, trying to round the last corner. But yeah, man, that is crazy. I mean, I remember like around here, we'll see, some single digits with wind chill, but like under, in the negatives, that's rare. That's rare. We might see it once or twice a year, but that's usually with wind chill involved. Like, to just be straight up negatives, no wind chill involved, that's brutal. I can't imagine a lot of people are outside, like even walking dogs and stuff like that. That I don't know. Maybe I'm sure you guys are built different. I know that, but
I did see somebody walking their dog side of a dirt road today. I was just driving along there from work, and it's gusting and blowing, and it's nasty. And I'm like, who would be even outside right now? There's a lady walking the dog, and dog's, doing his business right there on the side of the dirt road. And I'm like, oh, come on, man. Like, go behind a tree or something. Like, oh,
well,
I would not be walking my dog in this kind of weather. Like, he would be like, he'd walk out the door, and he'd be like, no, I'm not dealing with this today. I remember one time, we were living in our old place, and it was an apartment building, and we went downstairs, and he was going to go outside, and I had him on the leash and got him out the door, and it was snowing, it was gusting, a big just breeze came through, blowing snow all over the place, and he stopped, he looked at me, looked back, shook his head, turned around, walked back inside. I don't got to go that bad. I can hold it for now.
That's incredible. That tells you like dogs are smarter than, obviously, but it's like, wow, like that's saying something. And the only thing else I'll ask you, like, are there people, because, back in my high school days, there were kids coming to school in shorts and short sleeves. And like,
all the time.
You ever see people walking around in Wisconsin, like rocking that? Now, like, they're kind of a psycho, don't you think? Like, I get it being a tough guy.
There's built different, and then there's nuts. Those people are nuts. But we got around here where I live, we got people driving their lawnmower around like it's a car. Like they'll just drive their little tractor mower down the street. We had one guy back in high school, he used to drive his tractor mower to school all the time. We called him Ricky Bobby. I was like, this is my guy. This is Ricky Bobby right here.
Can't hate that guy. Can't.
No, he was good. He was good. He was good stuff. He was good stuff all the way around. I hope he's listening tonight because he was good stuff all the way around there. So we got lots to get into. Tonight. It was an exciting day for Badger football, I guess you could say. We had the early signing period happen there. Aaron, you got the list of the rankings. What do you got for the Big Ten rankings? I know the Badgers came in there kind of towards the middle of the pack.
Yeah, Big Ten rankings. So this is kind of including signing day. So, you take it, I guess, with a sort of grain of salt, but just so far how these teams are looking. So through the Big Ten, through the top 10, you got Oregon number 1, unfortunately, and then Ohio State number 2, unfortunately. But then it goes, Michigan, USC, Penn State, Nebraska, Washington, your Wisconsin Badgers right there, and then Maryland at 9. And Rutgers, ranking above Indiana, above Illinois, above Iowa. Some teams in there, like just a little surprising. Man, another kick in the chest for Purdue. They finished dead last. It makes sense, but man, it doesn't seem like it's ever going to get better right there, right now. So
No, not at all. But the Badgers in there, I mean, they got in there. They're about middle of the pack at this point. You got to look at the teams above them too. You have your Oregon, Ohio State. Those are your money spending teams, right? Those are the teams that are going to get you. Look, I mean, you got Michigan's. You said Michigan's up there near the top. Look at they just
number
gave
3.
Bryce Underwood. I mean, that's what it took. That's what it took to get a 5-star quarterback to flip script from LSU to come up there. You know what? I hate it. I really do. I hate this stupid NIL and everything like that for that fact, because you go through this, you almost have to have a group of guys who are constantly recruiting and keeping recruits happy. Because you look at LSU and they're like, oh, we got Underwood in the bag, right? We're ready. We're going out. We're getting other guys. We're getting other guys to bolster this thing up. And then all of a sudden, Michigan just slides in, opens up the window a little bit. They're like, hey, we got a little extra over here. You want to come up here? And then all of a sudden he's gone. And you flip back and you're like, okay, what do I do now? I was banking on this guy, right? This day and age, you can't bank on anybody showing up, but you're banking on this guy to show up, and now he's gone. And now you have to if you're LSU, you're like, okay, I got to dive back in and try to flip somebody else, which then affects a different school. So, I mean, it's the Wild West. That is the greatest analogy you can give this thing, is it's the Wild West, and it sucks. It really does. There has to be some kind of contract system and everything else, but we don't want to get into that today, because that's a whole, 5-hour show that we don't want to even spend a minute on here. So the Badgers, they have a pretty good day in the signing period. They have a pretty good day with some of the guys that they're bringing in now. The big name, right? Carter Smith, quarterback there. He's coming in 4-star. This guy, all around fantastic quarterback. He's got mobility. He's got a good arm. He's got, that kind of killer instinct in him where he wants to take a game over, and he wants to be the guy, like, he's going to pile drive you. He wants to be the guy to lay the boom on you. Now, that could get dangerous being a quarterback. You don't want your quarterback putting himself into harm's way. But Carter Smith is he's a tough cookie. And that's the kind of guy you want, especially in a team like Wisconsin, where you're not built with a lot of playmakers. You're hoping to get some playmakers, but you're not built with a lot of playmakers. This is a playmaker. This is a guy who, he's going to make the throw for you, but he can also run for it. He can find lanes, right? Running lanes. That's a big thing too with quarterbacks, is finding the right lane to run through to get those 5-10 yards, get a first down. Those are little things that Carter Smith can do for you. So a huge signing there. Mason Posa, the linebacker there, 4-star. This guy is going to be a bruiser for him on the defense. So a fantastic defensive signing there. Hardy Watts, offensive line. They got a couple of good offensive linemen coming in now to Wisconsin. This is great. This is great because we're getting offensive linemen, something that, you look at the Badgers last season. The offensive line, I thought, at moments shined and at other moments kind of hurt. So offensive lineman was a big need. Same with the defensive line. I was like, they need to go out and get some defensive linemen. They did that. They flipped Jalen Williams. He was committed to Michigan, decommitted. Now he's on his way to Wisconsin. That is fantastic. He could be a very, I would say, I don't want to say sneaky. He's going to be a steal, right? He's going to be a steal, I think. This guy has got all the tangibles you want, a great defensive lineman. So I like Jalen Williams coming in there. Jameer Scott, defensive back there, 4-star, adding some depth in that cornerback room that we've seen in the transfer. They've had most of the 2023 classes out the door at this point, and a lot of cornerbacks hitting the transfer portal now from Wisconsin. So getting some depth back in that cornerback room, that's going to be huge. So I like that signing there. Nicholas Clayton, the edge rusher there, 4-star coming in. Like I said, the defensive line, that's where you needed it. You're getting your help there. You have Logan Powell, offensive lineman, coming in there, 4-star. And then you have Eugene Hilton Jr. That is T.Y. Hilton's son. He's coming into the Badgers. Their wide receiver there, 4-star coming in. So a playmaker, right? If he plays like his dad did, they're going to have some success there in Wisconsin with him. So I love that class. I really do. I love the class. Those are some of just the 4-stars. We could go through days of talking about the entire recruiting class and everything like that, but I don't want to spend that much time on it here. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Layden Locke did come in too. Not really Brainlock's brother. Not really sure on him yet. He had the ACL tear in his senior season, so not a lot to really go off of in this last season here. All it is junior season, so we'll see what he kind of does. The ACL makes you nervous. Makes you nervous about what he's going to be able to do for the Badgers there. And then they also, I just wanted to make sure I don't miss anybody here. Michael Rosick from Watoma, Wisconsin. I believe he's 6'8" and 305 pounds. He's an offensive lineman. That's a big guy. That is a big guy, and I love that the Badgers got him in state. Like, keep the roots. Keep the big fellas at home. Don't let the big fellas go out. Keep the big fellas in Madison. So I like that one there. Other than that, I mean, those are your major signings on this day. Like we know, this could all change, and these are just the early signing period. There's going to be a lot more to come here for the Badgers here, but a pretty good signing class, right? Now, the question that everybody is trying to answer, because you look on Twitter, you look all over the place. You see, guys are tweeting out like, this quarterback has entered in the transfer portal. Should we go get him? This guy has entered in the transfer portal. Should we go get him? I'm going to be honest with you, Aaron. I really think the Badgers got to wait. I think they got to wait. You got to get that offensive. We heard Luke Fickell talk today, and Luke Fickell said that there's a possibility that he hires 2 coaches, one for offensive coordinator and one for the quarterbacks coach. First off, I love that. I want a quarterbacks coach and I want an offensive coordinator. I don't want my offensive coordinator trying to figure out my quarterbacks. I want a guy who I can bring in, a quarterback guru, because you know what attracts good quarterbacks? A guy who can get them to the next level. Bring in that guy. Next and foremost, bring in an offensive coordinator that's going to run a system that fits the guys in your system currently and what you could bring in. And with that, I believe you're going to draw the rest of your needs, right? If, let's just say they hire that UNLV offensive coordinator with the go-go offense there, he's going to bring guys with him. Right? When guys from UNLV or elsewhere love this offense, they're like, hey, he's going up to Madison. They're going to be like, hey, guys, Luke Fickell, I'll come up there and play. I'll come ball out wide receiver. I'll come up there. I like that offense. I like what Carter Smith is. I like what you guys are doing up there. I want to come into that system. So I feel like if you get it, it's not just all about Luke Fickell. It's about hiring the right offensive coordinator, because with the right offensive coordinator, that's what's going to draw the offensive talent. They're not going to come into a system where they don't feel like they can succeed. You look at what, deterred good quarterbacks and deterred wide receivers from Madison in the old regime, right? It was the Badgers were a run-heavy offense. If you were a quarterback, you're not going to throw the ball a lot. You're not going to be shown with that. Wide receivers, same thing. But you got running backs, you got offensive linemen, because they were going to be on display night in and night out. This guy, you bring that go-go offense, that's displaying everybody. That's an all-around offense. That's bringing everybody into the fold. So now you're a high-powered, more of a, I wouldn't say NFL pro style, but you're a spread-it-out kind of team who's going to play on all 3 levels. That's what you want. You want to bring in that guy. So I feel like at this point, before I'm even trying to figure that out, I'm trying to figure out my offensive coordinator right now. And then I think the pieces fall into place. Now, my question is, Aaron, you have Carter Smith coming in, you have Mabry from last year. Are you bringing in a bridge quarterback? Because Mabry's going to be going, he's a redshirt last year, or this current season now, but technically last year as we're talking. And going into next year, he's going to be not a true freshman, but a redshirt freshman. And then you're bringing in Carter Smith, who everybody is high on. Do you bring in a bridge quarterback, or do you, if you feel comfortable with Carter Smith or with one of these other guys, do you just let it ride? Do you just say, okay, hey, maybe we're going to take a hit for a year with inexperience, right? Inexperience happens. You're going to take a hit for a year. But I want this guy to grow from year one. I want Carter Smith to be the guy. And I want him to know that he's the guy. Bring him in, let him play. Maybe he's gonna experience his hiccups while playing. I mean, yes, you're throwing him to the wolves a little bit. Yeah, but he's going to get that experience against some pretty good teams next year with that daunting schedule the Badgers have. I mean, Aaron, are you bringing in that bridge quarterback, or are you just saying, at this point, bring in the offensive coordinator? If he likes what he sees in Carter Smith and thinks he can work with him right off the bat, let it ride.
I think after what's transpired the last couple of years, obviously, having to go to, Braden Locke, which wasn't ideal for you guys, for Wisconsin, like that's not what you wanted to see. You had higher ranked guys above him both years, and they both go down. So, oh my God, here comes the Ducks already, but no, it's all good. But
there's John, missed him there.
But yeah, I mean, I think this is a pivotal year for Luke Fickell. Like, I think there's too much riding on this. That like, if you feel like Carter Smith, like I remember, not to bring up Penn State already, but it's one of those things. Like Sean Clifford was in his 6th year. He had that COVID eligibility year. Like if he didn't have that year, I think they would have went, even though it's not a James Franklin thing to do, I think they would have said, you know what, Drew Aller is our best chance to win right now. That's where we're going. Like, even though it might get ugly, like the ceiling's higher with a guy like Cutter Smith, but maybe the lows are lower only because it's inexperience. You know, he's overwhelmed. You know, you're trying to learn a college offense. You're playing the game at a higher level in high school, obviously. But like I said, I think this is such a pivotal year for Fickell. It's a pivotal year for getting back on track. And I mean, that schedule is one of those things you can look at a couple different ways. You can say, if we bring in a bridge guy, he might be able to navigate that better because, you know, that's you know, a gut check every week there for like 4, 5, 6 weeks, whatever it is. I still think, like, if you're comfortable with Cutter Smith coming in, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if in the portal, you know, Wisconsin gets a guy from, you know, UNC or Duke or, you know, like just one of those,
Yep.
you know, one of those random schools. Maybe not a guy from like Bama or something, but, you know, we see that too. Like, we see a guy, you know, 4th string on Bama. Oh, I can maybe go compete for the job in Madison. Oh, maybe that might happen. So, I mean, I think they should have, I don't think they should have any reservation not to play Cutter Smith, other than if a guy comes in, he looks more ready to play, you know, week 1 of the season or in your scrimmage game. I'm sure they have a scrimmage game out there as well. It's like, maybe you just say, you know what, we're going to go experience here. But if Cutter Smith wows you, I wouldn't be afraid to put him in there, or at least to share some, you know, some drives, some, you know, a drive here, drive there, some reps, like that type of thing. Because you, like you said, I think getting him experience in this first year is important. I don't think, like, because the NFL, we can talk about how the Packers groom their guys and stuff like that. College, I mean, if you're afraid to break a guy's confidence in year 1, maybe he's not the guy. You know what I mean? Like, college is the breeding ground for the NFL, and you want to show you're the guy, even if you're not. Like, even if you're not ready, if you have a guy that's extremely timid, I don't know if that's who you want your starting quarterback to be anyway. So, yeah, I'm torn on it, but I think whoever gives you the best chance to win right now, you start them. And if it's not Cutter Smith, you get him involved every single quarter of the year. I don't think you shy away from getting him some reps, some, you know, some drives, that type of thing. Because, like I said, there's a lot riding on this season. I think Luke Fickell's job is basically, like, if they come out and win 4 or 5 games, I think he's in deep trouble. So even though with the gauntlet of a schedule, I think Wisconsin holds them to a little bit higher of a standard than, you know, 5 wins back-to-back years. And then, you know, he got paid. So it's not like, you know, there's the hot seat is starting to warm up gradually and quickly there.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. If you feel he's ready, you just got to fire it in at some point, right? You gotta, and I mean, we did see, he did talk today, Luke Fickell did, and he said he is going to have a meeting with Tyler Van Dyke too, to discuss, you know, his kind of future there. What he said that he wants to continue playing. You know, that's what Tyler Van Dyke said. He wants to continue playing. And you like the heart that the guy has. I mean, it sucks because we never truthfully, outside of the first 2 games, which you kind of count as preseason games, right? We never really got to see Tyler Van Dyke. So it really makes you wonder. And I know, Aaron, you're not a huge fan on Tyler Van Dyke or anything like that, but
more so than Brandon Locke, though. So
I think with his running ability, it would have changed a couple of the games that Wisconsin had against Penn State, or, you know, maybe against Oregon too. Also, he makes a little bit better of decisions, which, you know, Brandon Locke's trouble was. And it could have changed a lot of things. So I don't know if, you know, Tyler Van Dyke does come back. He is that bridge guy for you already. Maybe Cutter Smith beats him out for the job. Those are some of the things that you kind of got to look at there. So just getting to some of the comments here before we move on. John did say, quick question on Wisconsin. Is their biggest issue NIL money? Seemed like their biggest donor was Pepsi, if I'm not mistaken. And then he did say Herb Cole on the backside of that. I know they use it's called the Varsity Collective. So essentially, I was trying to gain more on that. So you can donate, basically, is what it is. It's a collective agency to try and donate in there. But, you know, you have to, with Wisconsin, yes, NIL will constantly be a problem because they're trying to spread it out between programs, essentially, and they don't have the funding like Alabama or like some of these other teams, or Oregon, right? Because they're backed by Phil Knight and everything like that. They don't have that kind of funding in there. So they're not going to be the team that's going to go out and spend that big money on just about anybody. They can spend it on coaches, but that's about as far as the they got to spend on there. So, and he also went on to say there, a new football practice facility and NIL are the top two funding priorities for the Badgers, but some donors are wary of the latter. I did see that they are building that new practice facility, so that's going to be a big thing too for the Badgers. So hopefully little things like that are going to draw some guys in there. Also, success draws guys to universities, and also, like we were talking about, offensive coordinators having the right guy in the system and everything like that. That's going to draw people in. So Brantley Gilbert did also say, how do you think the Badgers O-line is compared to others' O-lines? They didn't have a bad offensive line this season. I mean, by any means. They didn't have a terrible offensive line. I mean, they had holes at times. And I do believe there were a few games there where some of the guys were playing injured in those games too. So that definitely didn't help. So, I mean, they didn't have the deepest offensive line. I think they're definitely getting deeper with these last recruits that they're bringing in there. They didn't have a terrible offensive line. They just, to Wisconsin standards, what we're used to seeing, we're used to the road graders. We're used to the big fellas in there who are just going to push and shove you, and they were going to bury you with the run. And in this air raid, it changed. Their assignments changed. What they had to do within the offense changed. And I don't think that some of these guys like Jack Nelson were, just off the top of my head thinking about Jack Nelson, were equipped for the air raid offense, the style of offense that, what they wanted to do. I think I know he's one of the guys who's going to go play in the Reese's Senior Bowl there, along with Hunter Wohler. He's going to be in there too. I really do think he's going to do better in the NFL. I think he'll get drafted. He'll end up somewhere. And I think he'll do better in the NFL just because the air raid's kind of a different style for offensive linemen. You got to be a little bit quicker. You got to be able to go out. So, I mean, something that I think will benefit him is getting out of that kind of system. And we're waiting to see what the new offensive coordinator is going to bring into this Wisconsin Badger team. So we'll wait and see on that one. John did also say Ryan Day fired, obviously, if he doesn't win the national title there. Who would replace him, though? I don't know. I really don't know.
Do you think he gets the can if they don't, like, I don't, I mean, it's Ohio's, like we talked about last time, their standard is so high.
The way that it's set up now, I'm pretty sure in the latest college football playoff bracket, they would have Tennessee at home. And Tennessee is going to be no pushover at home there for Ohio State. If they lose that first game, yes, 100%, yes.
Getting all the way to the, I'm not like,
I don't know if it's national title or bust. I don't know if it's national title or bust. You got to be within the Final Four. I really do think you got to be within the Final Four for that roster to be as, their $20 million roster plus there. I mean, to get, to only, if you lose to Tennessee, I mean, that's first off, you lost on your home field. That completely knocks you out at that point. But people in Ohio State, they take that game against Michigan more serious than anything else. It doesn't matter if they lose to Wisconsin. It doesn't matter if they lose to Penn State. It's that game against Michigan. And what he has not been able to do is get his guys up for Michigan, get them ready for Michigan, and get his play calls for Michigan, right? He can't coach in that game. He looks like he's lost at times. They had a drive against Michigan where they threw the ball the entire length of the field. And it was like, boom, 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 boom. They're down the field, touchdown. And then all of a sudden they go back to the run game and they're like trying to be this powerhouse run team when they have all these weapons on the outside who are just standing there run blocking. And it's like the run game isn't there. Let's spread them out again. But they kept, where is Michigan's strength? It's in that D line. It's right there in front of you. And you kept trying to run into their strength. Like, I get you got to at least, the rivalry between those two has been won by whoever controls the run game. That's what it's been like through the years. And I get it, but I mean, change the narrative, throw the ball around. If you won that game and you didn't win the run game, but you won it through the air, people would have got over it. It's the fact that you, at your own place, Michigan walked in there and they outplayed you on that day, and you got outcoached and you got outclassed and you got outstyled. And then to have the melee after the game there where guys are throwing punches and they're losing their mind. I mean, I did. Dan Patrick did say that, those Michigan guys are nuts because you can't spike a flag into AstroTurf. But I thought that was funny. He's like, you can't even do it. Like, why are you trying to do it? And I'm like, yeah, that's true. That's true there. But I mean, yeah. And like John just said, they're 22-point favorite. Like, you're a 22-point favorite at home against Michigan, who, if you can't beat Michigan this year, how are you going to beat them with Bryce Underwood? They have no quarterback. They have some random guy playing quarterback at this point. And it's a great story. If you haven't, I believe his name is Warrens, I think is his last name there. If you haven't heard his story, fantastic story. He had cancer, beat cancer. He's a fantastic guy. Like, I prayed when I heard his story on College Game Day, I was like, I hope you beat Ohio State now. Like, you are a great dude. He still goes back to the Children's Hospital and everything like that, hangs out with all these kids. And he was at one of the little kids' birthday parties, like just randomly showed up because this kid thinks he's the coolest. Like, I was hoping that Michigan would win this game. But the way that Ohio State played, like, if they were a 3-loss Ohio State team right now, and the way that they played against Michigan would have been the last time we would have seen them before the playoffs, I would not have been able to vouch for them to make the college football playoff. They wouldn't be in the same boat as an Alabama right now, where they're somehow still in the picture. I would have been like, no, not even a chance, because you went in, you at your own place as a 22-point favorite. You got outmanned. Like, you look like you were lost. Like, you were the team that was struggling this year. So just, I mean, I don't think it's national championship or bust, but I think it's Final Four. I really do. I think it's Final Four or bust.
And I even think, to piggyback off of that, I think in the Final Four, in the semifinal at that point, like, if they were to come out and play that way again, like, I think that even could cause him to get, like, it depends how they go about, playing these games too. Like, I don't think Will Howard is on the level. Like, he's good. I don't think he's even that great. I mean, he's good though. He no disrespect to him. Like, he can play, but he's not, like, this is kind of the first time you've seen Ryan Day there without, Justin Fields, who was amazing. JT Barrett, great. Like, not outstanding, but like, they're all a tier above. Like, Will Howard's probably the least talented of all the Ohio State quarterbacks in the last, like, 10 years. I'll put it that way. Like, he's not bad by any means, but he is not. So now I don't know if Ryan Day got in his own head and thought, Will Howard throws picks here and there. Like, he like, can I fully trust him? But like, against Oregon, I mean, he balled out. Like, he has the ability to throw up massive points. I mean, I saw him against Penn State. I mean, granted, people were running wide open, which I didn't understand, but I mean, it's one of those things. Did Ryan Day just think, you know what, this time we're 0-3 in the last 3 meetings. I'm going to take it to the ground game. I'm going to take it out of Will Howard's hand at certain points, and I'm going to beat them at their game. And like, maybe he got, paranoid, like, I have to win this game and I don't want it to come down to a crucial mistake or something like that. Maybe there's that, but you can't make excuses to lose to a team, like you said. I mean, 22-point favorite at home. You're 0-3 against them. There's so much riding on the line of, where you're going to be seated in the college football playoff with Oregon, Penn State, everybody else in the Big Ten you got to worry about. And not only that, but, the SEC, Big 12, like, all these other teams. So, yeah, I mean, I even if Ohio State goes, like, I don't think him being fired, if he gets fired this offseason, I won't be shocked. I won't. Yep. I'll be maybe a little surprised, but I mean, he is one of the hottest seats going into the offseason, unless they go out and win the national championship, which I don't see happening. I mean, anything can happen. They ran, Oregon's number 1, and they ran them to the wire. But I mean, you got to think some of these guys are. I mean, it's going to be interesting how they, navigate after how that game looked and how they lost. But you can't be 0-4 against Oregon or against Michigan there and lose the way you did, coach the way you did, it just all of it. So, yeah, I mean, it's boom or bust right now. And even if they do boom to a certain degree, I don't know if he's safe, because that's a place where it's win or else. And I don't even think he's won a national championship there. So I mean, if not now, sometimes when. That's one of those things. Like, if he gets the can, Ohio State is Ohio State. Like, it's win or get out. So fans are getting very impatient. Let's say they lose next year to Michigan. You can't bring 0-5. You can't bring in a guy that's like, that's your. And like you said, this was the year to kind of put the fire extinguisher on it, and to lose that way it's I'm loving it, but Ohio State fans are not loving any bit. And he was hated before this. He really like a lot of people hate Ryan Day in Ohio, and like I said, high standard. But this was, I mean, icing on the cake. This is just a bow on top of it.
Isn't it crazy to have the career record that he has and to be a 10-2 team and your seat is hot? Like, that's wild to me. Like, that is wild to me.
Doesn't matter.
If I had a 10-2 Badger team right now, I'd be praising Luke Fickell. I'd be down there kissing his feet right now. Probably not, but I'd be like, thank you for bringing success back to Badger football. And like, we're over here like putting Ryan Day to bed. Like, here's your suitcase. Like, see you later. Like,
well, same thing. I mean, in some instances, same thing can say. Like, if you look at Franklin's all-time record, like it's damn good, and like he covers the spread against everybody except for Michigan and Ohio State. And I don't know. I mean, if let's just flip flop. If Wisconsin was Penn State, they're winning 10 games a year outside of this year, which I think was the schedule that really the only reason Penn State lost one game. They flirted and almost lost 3 or 4, but it's, if you're Wisconsin sitting there, let's say James Franklin's at the helm, you're losing those 2 games. Let's say you're losing to USC and Michigan or whatever, whoever, right? It's 2 teams that are better than you rankings wise, all that. Would you be satisfied over a 5, 6, 7, 8 year, 9, 10, however long period, but like 5 to 10 year period where you're seeing, we're good, but then that happens. We're good, but then like we're the stepchild to these other teams are not afraid of Penn State. These other teams are not afraid of Wisconsin in that, dynamic.
Lucky for you, I haven't experienced that yet, but
It's
do.
It's the Brewers, right? It's the Brewers type of thing.
It's the Brewers. We have seen the Badgers when it was Big Ten West, Big Ten East. We've seen the Badgers win the Big Ten West, go to that Big Ten championship game, and then, I mean, Ohio State would dog walk them. I mean, they played some close games, right? They won the Big Ten championship a couple times. They beat Nebraska. I mean, they've had their wins, they've had their losses in there, but I can definitely see where the kind of where we want to get rid of them comes from, because you are such a good, well-built program that you should be winning these games. But
especially them, especially they are like they have talent, and no matter who shows up to coach. I mean, if Luke Fickell went there, he'd be walking into just talent on that. That's another thing. Like you're Ryan Day, and you're like finding a way to screw it up almost. Like,
don't tell Badger fans that. They don't want to hear. They don't think Luke Fickell could walk in anywhere and cut. I mean, there's plenty of people that think that Luke Fickell could mess it up, even if, right? So I mean,
we don't know. Yeah, we don't know.
It's a see right now. There's nobody else to blame, because most of, if not all, Paul Chryst guys have got to be gone at this point. I haven't looked through the complete list, but those guys have basically all got to be gone at this point here. So there's nobody else to blame at this point than what Luke Fickell does. Than what he does here. This offseason is going to be offensive coordinator. He's talking about quarterbacks coach. I'd fire Tressel and find a new defensive coordinator, or at least demote Tressel and bring in a new guy to call the defense. But I haven't heard anything about that, so we'll wait and see on that one. But it's also going to be about the transfer portal too, right? Because you cannot bank on the recruiting class to fill all your holes. You have to find it out there in free agency, essentially. So it's going to be, this could be a job-defining offseason for Luke Fickell coming up here. And we will see what he does with the transfer portal. I know it opens up on Monday. I believe it opens up. So we'll see it's nuts to open up the transfer portal while teams are actually still trying to play football. But
that's
the transfer portal. And you know what? Maybe it's a good thing the Badgers are off, because now the only focus that Luke Fickell has is on keeping his guys who are in-house happy and keeping them here, the ones that he wants at least. And then also going out there and, hey, ring, guy from, wherever, come up to Wisconsin and play defensive line for me. So it's going to be a big offseason in those senses there, because he's losing guys on the defensive line. He's lost guys in the cornerback room. I did see a big one, and I don't know where I saw, I just got it sent to me, but I did see a quote that was sent to me from Trek Kikawana, who was one of the Badgers wide receivers. And he said that he did not feel appreciated at Wisconsin, which I don't know, because he was technically supposed to be the backup slot wide receiver behind Will Pauling, and then he was, kind of put in there due to injury to other guys, and he did have some explosive games, and I was honestly excited to see what Trek could become. He had a pretty good season for Wisconsin. Now he's going to transfer out. Did not feel appreciated. So you got to hear the other side of it, right? You don't know where that's coming from or anything like that. But, we did see one of the cornerbacks said that he didn't feel like he was, appreciated or almost appreciated, I guess, in the cornerback room by the cornerbacks coach. So, I mean, there's, pieces and bits on this staff that Luke Fickell definitely has to try and adjust or get in their, headspace, or call them into their office and send them packing. I don't know what he's got to do, but he's got to, you got to make these guys feel comfortable when they're there, feel like they're appreciated and like they're working towards something. And maybe Trek doesn't feel like he was, I don't feel like it was the getting the playing time part, but maybe being more involved inside the offense, using his tools to your advantage kind of thing. And maybe Phil Longo, when he was there, and else, when it was not Phil Longo anymore, they weren't utilizing him to his full extent. So there's lots of things that you can read into. I don't know how much you want to read into it, because you go down a rabbit hole, and when you go down that rabbit hole, you're digging for scraps down there. So it's kind of one of those things where you just kind of wait and see. Trek said this: if, let's just say, Will Pauling or one of these other guys transfers out too, and they're like, I didn't feel appreciated in this system. Okay, well, now it's like, okay, now it's a big thing. But if Trek's saying that he didn't feel appreciated and Phil Longo got fired, I mean, I don't know where the correlation is there, because your offensive coordinator's gone. So if you didn't feel appreciated, it's because the offense wasn't correlated or kind of aiming towards you. Now he's gone. Maybe you were going to be more involved in so-and-so's new offense when he got in there, but now you're not. So I don't know. We'll wait and see how it's all going to transpire there. So some good stuff, though. Early signing period for the Badgers. Got a pretty good class already started, and we will see what they do in the transfer portal, as that's going to open up here coming up, I believe, on Monday. I believe that opens up on Monday. So we'll see. I mean, I don't expect some big splashes early on there. You're waiting for all these other teams who are currently in the playoff race or in bowl game races right now to see what happens with them. So we'll wait and see what happens in all these games. So a big weekend of college football coming up, though. We're going to get into those games on Friday here on the show when we preview those conference championships. Should be some great ones coming up there. So, Aaron, there was some news coming out of the MLB. Juan Soto did say, or well, I don't know if it was Juan Soto or if it was Dingle Nuts there. What's his name? The agent there. What the heck is his name?
Boris? Scott Boris.
Yeah. Scott Boris there. I don't know which one said it, but they said that Juan Soto will be probably, possibly, maybe signing a deal at the end of this week here. That's probably to entice other teams to up the ante and try to give them more money or up the contract, but we'll wait and see if that's the truth there. But we did see, as we got, holy crap, Ola, John sending me the whole transfer list here. Cole LaCrue is transferring out. Yes, quarterback there. And then linebacker Leon Lowry. That's the guy. He was going to commit in, then he decommitted, then he committed back. So it's okay. And then Amir Snowden, he was a big time recruit when they got him back in 2023. But he's the guy who said that he did not feel like he was appreciated or anything in that cornerback by the cornerback coach there. And he didn't feel like he was being listened to. So that's the guy that I was talking about there. So we'll see what kind of happens there. So let's get into that new rule. They came up with a new rule, Aaron. Well, it's not implemented yet, but they're talking about it right now. It's called the Golden at Bat, is what it's called there. So essentially, the Golden at Bat is each team would be allowed to choose any one time in a game to bring any player to the plate there, even if it's not his turn in the batting order. So yeah, I want to hear what you think, Aaron. I want to hear kind of what you think about this. Do you think it's a good rule? Do you think it's something that's going to benefit the game? Or do you feel like it's going to be something that we probably should just leave it how it is?
Oh, man, this is a real toss up for me, coin flip, however you want to say it. Baseball is, to me, the most, like, I'm not gonna say the most pure, but it's like the way baseball is played today is so similar to how it was forever. Like, I think you can make the case, like the NBA implementing the 3-point shot has changed the game drastically. Excuse me. The NFL, all the rule change. I mean, the NFL has a laundry list of rule changes. If you talk to people that watch the NFL in the 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and they talk about it today, it's like two different sports. Baseball, I mean, you're starting to see, I mean, the pitch clock was a big one. That was something that a lot of people were against until, they realized, hey, this is actually making the game. Guys aren't stepping out of the box every 2 seconds and adjusting the jock strap. The list goes on. I mean, you got guys, in and out of the batter's box for 2 minutes and there's 2 pitches thrown. Like, it's ridiculous. But this one, I have a couple different ways of looking at it. If you're not worried about so much I don't know if it's integrity of the game, that might be taking it a little far, but
that could be integrity.
Yeah, I mean, you're making it almost like an arcade version, in my opinion, doing this because, okay, let's say, I was on with Brent, the Yankees guy last night, and I'm like, all right, Aaron Judge has, a place where he could come up and, or I'm sorry, Volpe has a place where he can come up, but they're gonna hit Judge because Judge is he's one swing away from a home run every time. Basically, that's how you look at him. It's like, okay, now you robbed Anthony Volpe of an at-bat, which, I mean, you'd go with the better guy. I mean, it's a business decision. Like, you want to win a game, you want to win a game. But, like, does that spill over into, like, Anthony Volpe being like, hey, man, what the hell? Like, now you caught that. Now there's a little bit, these guys have egos. I don't care who it is. There's guys that want to win more than others and that will prioritize winning over others. But there's guys that are like, if you yank me from the lineup, like Alec Boehm's a pure example of that. If you yank that guy from a lineup or you implement or you substitute somebody for the golden at bat in his place, he's going to like cry and throw and lose his mind. Like he's going to, and you might not see it in the dugout, but guess what? In the clubhouse, he'll be losing his mind. So there's a lot of like I said, if you're looking at it from a couple different angles, if you're trying to make the game more exciting, I think it's a great idea. If your only focus is let's make people watch 9 innings of baseball instead of tuning it out in the 5th inning, sure, because I think it's 7th inning or later you can do this. Yeah, I mean, that is one of those things you want to see where it's like 9th inning, you got whatever, Devin Williams versus Ohtani or whatever, you throw a great closer out there and one of the best hitters in the game, whatever. But it's like, I don't know, that would be like, hey, the NBA, you start, hacking Bogut back in the day on the Warriors. Oh, guess what? I'm going to have Curry shoot his free throws though. Like that's not how it works. You know what I mean? Like you're changing like how it transpires. So I wouldn't hate to see it and see how it works. I think they'll do the same thing with like how they did with the pitch clock, all that, implement it in the minor leagues, see what happens, I guess. But this is one of those things. I think I've heard Michael Kay talk about it. They're worried that baseball is dying and they're going to try anything just to kind of put some gasoline on the sport to make it more exciting. But I don't know, man. I guess I'm old school, get off my lawn type of thing. But it's like, imagine a playoff game and it's like bottom of the 9th, and now you're doing a golden at bat. It's just like, it's not pure. Like it's kind of, you're forming a situation that's not really there out of thin air, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to substitute him now. And like, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. And I don't even know if I like it. I'll accept it if it comes down the pipeline, but it's a little much of a stretch, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. And John says there, he mentioned going to try and get more runs on the board there, and that MLB realizes higher scoring, more views. And that's what they try to do with the pace of play. That's what they've tried to do with a lot of things in there. This is where, so as a manager, right? Let's just say you're going into the 8th inning and you feel like this inning, I have, say, Judge is coming to the plate and Soto is coming to the plate, and I don't know who would have batted after him, but let's say Volpe, right? You have 3 of the best hitters in the Yankees lineup coming up. I'm going to throw my closer in there, right? I'm going to throw my closer in there to knock it down. Knock them down so that the bottom of the order or whatever it is comes up. I have my setup man, whoever's left in my bullpen, go pitch to him. Now, with the rule, one of those guys gets on. Judge just batted last inning. Now he can come up again. And it doesn't affect anything. He can just come up again. And it's like, okay, so now what does a manager do? So I feel like then if you make this rule, then you have to have a golden pitcher rule where you can bring in a pitcher if he's already been in the game, right? You can bring him in. You can just bring him in. What I hate the most is that some of my favorite moments in MLB history are the guys who were not supposed to do it. Yes, if Shohei Ohtani hits a bomb in the bottom of the ninth in a golden at bat, fantastic. Like, that's great, right? But what if, just what if, Gavin Lux hit that bomb instead? What if Gavin Lux hit that bomb instead?
Well, and yeah, like, I'll let you go. I don't want to cut you off there, but even like the Freddie Freeman thing, because he's battling the injury, you know, like that was like a Kirk Gibson 2.0. You know, you saw the comparison video. Like, what if, you know, Dave Roberts is like, oh man, like, you know, Freddie's a great hitter, but like he's not him, you know, he's not 100%. Let me put Mookie Betts in, and Mookie Betts strikes out. Like, we don't know what would have happened, but like you said, it's you're changing the path of how you could, like, keep going there, but it's,
you could, and you know, you could almost have, okay, say bases are loaded, 1 out, right? Aaron Judge comes to the plate, pops up to the pitcher, right? Just pops up, bam. Well, shoot, I haven't used my golden at bat. Aaron, go hit again.
Yeah, that's come on.
Stay in there. Go hit again.
You can't allow, you can't.
Like,
let
I just
happen.
feel like I understand what they're trying to do. I get it. You want your superstars up to the plate in superstar moments. I get that. I understand that. You think that's going to drive up viewership. You think it's going to do us. 1 at bat in a game is going to drive up viewership that much. Like, we're all sitting there on our phones. We're like, oh my God, I can't wait. I cannot wait for the golden at bat. When's he going to do it? When is Craig Counsell gonna do it? And it's like, no, we don't care. Like, nobody is gonna sit there for a 2.5 hour to 3 hour baseball game simply to wait for the golden at bat. Like, oh my, it's like, you know, Willy Wonka. We like got the Willy Wonka with the golden ticket here. Who's gonna go to the chocolate factory? I don't care. Like, I'm not here to care. Like, this is it's so stupid. I'm not even gonna say about messing with the game, because I thought the pitch clock would mess with the game. I thought all that crap was going to mess with the game. And I got used to it. I got over it. But this is dumb. This is just dumb. Why would you? Okay, so normal baseball rules, if we have somebody come up to the bat for somebody else, they're out of the game. Like, that's how it works. That's how it works. So it just doesn't make sense. We're implementing this stupid rule now, or it's in the talks of implementing this stupid rule. I don't think it's going to benefit the game. I really don't. And if it's going to create higher scoring games, I don't buy that either. Because in those moments, I don't feel like it's going to drive up, you know, Aaron Judge comes up and he pops out. I mean, what are the odds Aaron Judge is going to drive in runs every single time he steps to the plate in that golden at bat? You know what I would do? If you want to use the golden at bat, if you want to use that rule, fine. Okay, we can do it. But if I'm in there, I'm saying that golden at bat, okay, you want to use it? It's 2 outs. 2 outs. That's what it counts as.
And I'm not saying you're wrong. I don't want to make you sound like, but now you're completely like the runner on second, right? And I don't. People. No,
you screw them. You screw the inning. Like, this is, if you use the golden at bat, it's do or die. It's do or die.
No,
like, you are using this in a suicide moment.
I get that, but now you're turning it into like an all-star game, like style type thing. Like, it's arcadish, right? Like, now now there's 2 outs. Now it's the golden at bat. Like, it's getting, you know, what's next? Like you said, the golden pitcher. Now you'll have Zach Wheeler come in after pitching 7 innings. Oh, he's pitching them to Aaron Judge in the 9th inning because we want Zach. Like, it's just like, dude, like, when does it stop? You know, you got a guy throwing underhand, and, you know, now it's the golden, you know, inning, and let's score 10 runs in an inning, end the game in the 4th inning because it's a mercy rule. Like, I mean, where does it stop? Like, that's where I would be.
Once you go down this rabbit hole.
Yeah, I'm worried you go down that and the most pure thing about baseball, like, whether you hate it or not, right? Like, give me a guy in the Brewers lineup that's like, oh my God, if he comes up, we're screwed. Like, let's just like, you don't want to see him in the 9th inning.
In the 9th inning? Yeah. Can I go like recent history?
Literally any.
Jesse Winker,
right? Okay, but let's say, like, as much as you don't like the guy, whatever. But if baseball is the ultimate team game. Now you're more so making it about an individual because you're removing the guy that should be. I get pinch hitting. That's a manager strategy decision.
Yep.
But now you're like, you know what, Christian Yelich, screw Jesse Winker. Like, forget that guy. Like, literally go take his helmet out of his hand, go take his bat, and go up that. Not that that would exactly happen, but you know what I mean? Like, you're completely removing a guy to put your star player. Like, that is, I mean, you talk about just a shakeup, and then like the morale of some of these guys that, you know, what if Jesse Winker's 2 for 3 that day though? But they're like, you know what? I think Yelich is 4 for 8 against this guy all time. Da 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 da. What if Yelich is 0 for 4 on that day? Like, I'd be like, dude, if I'm Jesse Winker, I'd be like, go up to the manager and flip out and throw him. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, give me the opportunity. You know, you a-hole. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
There's so many things to this, and like I said, it's the team game. If you're hitting 8th in the lineup, but you have that chance, you have that chance. Now you're modifying the chance that guy has. There's a lot of moving parts to this and like you said, what if Aaron Judge gets out, makes the first out, and then a couple guys get on, hey, Aaron Judge, go back up there. And then he makes the third out, and you're like, dude, I hate this guy because he made 2 outs in the same inning and in pivotal spots. Like, like you said, I get it. You're trying to make it more exciting, but I don't know if I don't know what the route is. I don't have a better, I don't have a comeback to that, but this is just radical, to be honest with you.
I don't think this is the route. I don't think this is the right one because, like you alluded to there, you open up this can of worms, you're opening up a mess of more. And then once you do this, you have a golden pitcher rule. And once you have that, you have pitchers that can leave the game but come back into the game then, which completely disbands a different rule. And it's just then what can they only pitch to one guy? And then you have to pull them after that. Like, how does it all work? Because technically, if you have Aaron Judge bat for, let's just say, Volpe, then Aaron Judge just goes back to his spot in the lineup, and then Volpe stays at his spot in the lineup. So if you have a pitcher who started the game, can he come back into the game and pitch in this golden pitcher rule? I mean, it's just there's too many variables that are going to tick a lot of people off, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all. So we'll see what they do. It's in the talks. It's talks at this point. Let's hope it stays as talks and one of those kinds of thing. And, maybe it's like robot umpires. We're going to talk about it for 50 years, but we're never going to have them. So that's something that they got to fix first. Give me the
blackouts, right? The blackouts. You can't even watch the games, but they're worried about
fix the blackouts. Fix the umpires because umpires are the biggest problem in games right now. Don't worry about this crap and let's fix the problems. The problems, not this crap. Let's fix the real problems first. Then let's get to this because we fixed the pace of play and everybody's gotten used to that. Let's not try and go down a rabbit hole right now. Let's fix the problems in front of us and then get to there. So we do have a couple comments there. The Red Shed, nice to see you, buddy. Thank you for joining in tonight. 8 composite 4-stars in the 25 class there for the Badgers. Over under 5.5 becomes starters at Wisconsin. I'm going to hope. Yeah, I'm going to say over. I'm going to hope over. I'm going to hope that all 8 guys are on the roster when we get to the 2025 season. That's what I'm banking on right now because it's the Wild West, man. It's the Wild West. You never know what's coming next. So we'll wait and see kind of what happens in there. But Aaron, let's talk about Badger basketball here real quick before we get to some of the other stuff, the Packers and everything else down the road there. So the Badgers did drop that game to Michigan last night there on Peacock, crappy old Peacock. Hate that stupid streaming service there, but I'm going to start hacking here. I was laughing there for a second. Hold on. Goodness, I'm back. I'm good now. Oh, goodness gracious.
All good.
Tickling at it. The Badgers dropped 8-1, 67-64. They lose that game to Michigan. And it was the story of the bigs, Aaron. We talked about it going into it. We said Michigan has these 2 big guys. They have Danny Wolf and Golden in there, and you have to somehow control those big guys. And that is exactly what the Badgers did not do in this ball game here. And Danny Wolf goes for 20 and Golden goes for 24. And I'm pretty sure I would say 3/4, if not most of Golden's points came on dunks. So he was just throwing the hammer down on the Badgers. It was the pick and roll game. I haven't seen a lot of Danny Wolf this season. Haven't seen a lot of him. I haven't watched a whole lot of Michigan basketball there. And this guy can handle the basketball. Holy crap. For a 7-footer, this guy can move with the basketball. He's impressive. Came from Yale last season there, and he is an impressive guy. Watching him move with the basketball there. Him and Golden in the pick and roll game, the Badgers bigs were lost. They were lost. Steven Crowell got into foul trouble, and that hurt. That hurt because Steven Crowell has got to be smarter. I understand, and I'm not going to say I hate blaming the refs. I really do. And I'm not going to say that the reffing was perfect Like, I'm not going to say it was perfect because there was a lot of calls that were made against the Badgers, against Michigan, that I was like, that should not be a foul. Like, let him play a little bit. Like, Steven Krau's fifth foul, he got a little handsy, but I was like, you could have let that go. It was a loose ball. He grabbed around the guy. Like, it could have been let go, but they didn't let it go. And I, can't blame the reffing on that game. But Steven Krau is an upperclassman. He's got to be smarter in that game because once he left, the Badgers kind of went to the small ball lineup. And once they went small ball, you have nothing. You have John Tonje trying to guard a 7-footer. And I love John Tonje, but he ain't guarding no 7-footer. And they ate the Badgers alive on the inside there. And it came down to the point of they didn't make an adjustment. They did not make an adjustment for it. The bigs were beating them down in the post, and it's like, okay, what do we do? Do we pack it? And I would have packed it. I'll be honest with you. Michigan, they shot 6 for 25 on the game there. They were 24% from downtown. I would have packed the paint. Make Michigan beat you from the outside. Once they start beating you on the outside, then we bury it down again. Then we get out there on shooters. You still want to get out on shooters, but I want to pack the paint up until that point. The Badgers didn't. They stuck in the man-to-man. They stuck, kind of out on their guys, left the paint area open there, and that hurt. That hurt big time there. So the bigs from Michigan ate this Badger team alive. Looking at some of the other guys in this game here, and that's those two guys. Those two guys are the ones that hurt you. You look at the rest of the scoring there. Gale had a subpar game there. Trey Donaldson, one of the leading scorers for Michigan, did not score in this game. 0 points across the board there. And they still end up on the upper hand here. Why? Well, you're not going to beat anybody when you shoot 34%. The Badgers shot 34%. You're not going to beat anybody. You shot 22% from downtown there and 73% at the free throw line there. You got to the free throw line. You didn't convert on 5 of them there. I mean, I'm not going to say that 5 missed free throws should cost you the game. You led late in this game. You had multiple leads. You had the biggest lead of this game. Michigan's biggest lead was 3. That's the final score there. You led by 9 at one point. You led late in this game, and you went 2.5 minutes in the end of the game without scoring a basket. You had 0 points in the last 2.5 minutes. You want to lose a close game? Score 0 points in the last 2.5 minutes. That's the easiest way to do it. What I didn't understand was, and I don't know if they were blown plays or not, the last, I would say multiple play calls went to Max Klesman. And Max Klesman, if we all look at the box score here for a second, it wasn't great. 3 for 14, 1 for 9 from downtown. Not at all hot. He was not feeling it. He hasn't been feeling it on this season. He has struggled. And it's not like I'm not sitting here saying we all have to give up on Klesman or we're all blaming Klesman or anything like that. He had open looks. He had good looks that he's hit in the past. He didn't hit those looks, and that stinks. But late in the game, John Tonje, I believe I took a stat. John Tonje's last shot in this game was at the 6:54 mark. 6:54. You had 6 minutes and 54 seconds left in this game, and your best scorer, John Tonje, took his last shot of the game. I don't care what you have to do late in the ball game. Get John Tonje the basketball. Get him the basketball and let him try to win you that game. But John Blackwell had 16 points. He was getting to the rim. He was getting offensive rebounds and doing his thing down in the post there. Get him the basketball and let him try to work. You got it to the one guy, and I'm not trying to blame Max Klesman here at all because I like Max Klesman. I think he's a heart and soul of this team. He's great on the defensive end. He can ball out with the best of them when he's feeling it. But in this game, he wasn't feeling it. And to have the last, I believe it was possibly the last 4 shots went to Max Klesman. The last shot of the game was a half-court buzzer beater by John Tonje. But outside of that, your last 4 shots or plus before that were Max Klesman trying to hit big shots for you when he wasn't feeling it on that day. So I thought it was poor execution by the Badgers there, getting guys open and finding your scores in this one. Because John Tonje, if I'm late game situation, I'm going to my guy. Like, I want everybody to be a guy, and I want them to be able to hit big shots. But John Tonje's been my guy all season long. He has been that guy. Get him the basketball. Let him try to make something work. If he can't get it, if he finds Klesman on a kick out because Tonje got double teamed or something, that's fine with me. But to have Klesman be that one option, I thought it was poor execution. So Badgers dropped this game. The bench didn't really help out outside of Kamari McGee. Carter Gilmore did have a 3 in this one. Jack Janicki did not have a lot of minutes in this one. Neither did Xavier Amos. So stuck with the starters for a majority of this game here, did Greg Gard. Outside of that, you look at the stats in this game here. Free throw percentage was pretty close. 3-point percentage, pretty close. Field goal percentage, pretty close. Both teams sucked. they sucked. I mean, this was a Big Ten battle that was won on the inside. And that's the only thing that alarms me with that is how weak the Badgers played on the inside. They played weak on the inside. Golden and Wolf were able to have their way. And that kind of nerve-wracks you because you win against a physical team in Arizona. They out-rebounded you by 25. You play against Michigan. It wasn't the rebounding that was the trouble because the Badgers did have, I believe it was a boatload of offensive rebounds, 16 offensive rebounds in this game. Michigan had 13 there. You were close in the rebounding battle, so it's not like the rebounding was the thing that hurt you. It was the pick and roll with the two bigs that hurt you big time in this one. So the Badgers dropped this game to Michigan. Hopefully this was the stinker, right? This was the stinker of the year there, and we'll see a little bit better things moving forward. This was a game where the Badgers, they kind of played it like we've seen in the past, where they fall behind and they try to work their way back. They're having a cold shooting night, but they can do just enough to get themselves a win or get themselves back into it. It came back to bite in this one. So now we know. Now we know it's got it. What needs to happen. Question is, does it happen there? And the physicality of the bigs is something that I'm definitely keeping an eye on here. I don't know. In this one, I'm like, we talked about Ricardo Greppi the other day. He's a freshman. He hasn't seen a lot of minutes, but he's about 7 foot tall and he's about 255 pounds. In this game, instead of going small ball lineup, I would have thrown him out there. I get he's a freshman. I'm not asking him to score. I don't need him to score. I got scorers. I got Tanjay. I got Blackwell. Those guys can do my scoring for me. Put Greppi on the floor just to play defense. Just guard somebody. Chris Hodges, he's a big body. Throw him in there. Like, just throw your bigs in there. I don't know why we all of a sudden said to ourselves, hey, let's go try to win it with small lineup. Let's go try to win it with small lineup. It's not going to happen in this one because the bigs were the ones eating you alive. It wasn't the guard play for Michigan. It was the bigs that were doing it to you. So I thought this was a poor execution on the Badgers. And I think Greg Gard learned from this one. I hope he did. And they're not going to play Michigan again unless if they see them in the Big Ten tournament. So we'll see what they do. But you're going to play against some teams here in the Big Ten who have experienced bigs with good bigs, and we'll see what happens there. And, people are looking at this. They're like, number 11 Wisconsin loses to unranked Michigan. This is a pretty good Michigan team. This is a pretty darn good Michigan team. That Danny Wolf, he is impressive. I said it before and I'll say it again. That's a 7-footer who can get downhill, who can work in the pick and roll game, who can hit it from downtown. That's an impressive guy right there. So definitely have to keep an eye on him there. But we'll see what happens with the Badgers now. They have a game. We'll talk about that game on Friday there. They have a game coming up this weekend here with Marquette. And Marquette right now, I don't know what the score of that game is. I know they're on ESPN Plus. This is the stupidest thing. I don't like Marquette. Trust me, I don't like Marquette. I hate Marquette. But Marquette and Iowa State, right? This is the number 5 team in the country in Marquette playing the number 6 team in Iowa State. They're playing on ESPN Plus.
Yep, 4-point game right now. Iowa State's up 4.
But they're playing on ESPN Plus.
Makes sense of that.
These are like ESPN Plus, and I don't want to make fun of any program out there, but ESPN Plus is where they put the teams that don't get national television because they're not good. And that's right. Where they put them. That's where they put them. And it's nothing against them. They're just not a powerhouse team. Like, they're just not that great of teams. Iowa State and Marquette on ESPN Plus, you're making people pay X amount of dollars just to watch a top 10 matchup. That's ridiculous. Find somewhere to put them. I don't care if it's FS1, if it's CBSSN. I don't care if it's MSNBC. I don't care where you got to put them. Find a spot to put them. Pay for something. That's just ridiculous. That's just nuts there when I saw that. So, I mean, I don't like Marquette, but that is terrible on the NCAA not getting them a good slot there. So, I mean, Marquette, Wisconsin coming up this weekend. That game's going to be on Fox, 12:30 start for that one. That's going to be on Saturday. So we'll talk about that game on Friday. We'll preview that one. Should be a great battle for the Badgers. It always is when they take on Marquette there. So hopefully the Badgers are up for the task there, traveling to Milwaukee to take them on there at the Pfizer Forum. I hope that they keep this blue court. They got this blue court there. The Bucks did that design for their court. Now I hope they keep that on there. It's a pretty fancy. Now they'll switch it over to Marquette and everything like that. They'll upset me in that way. So either way there, Aaron, we'll let's get to Hunter's got a hockey video for us. So we'll get to he's got a recap video and a preview video for the upcoming matches there for Badger hockey, women's and men's. So we'll get to that. And then on the back side of that, we'll get to the fact of the day. We'll get to the Packers and Lions. We'll get to a little NFL talk and then wrap it up for the day there. So we'll catch you guys back here on the other side of Hunter's hockey talk.
What is up, everyone? Back with another Wisconsin hockey recap and preview. Let's get started with the men's. The men's faced off against Alaska Anchorage last Friday and Saturday. And on Friday, they got off to a hot start. Rylan Morrisley scored the first goal just 3 minutes and 56 seconds into the game, and Kyle Cohen doubled the lead with a penalty shot, ending the first period at 2-0. The Badgers dominated the second period with 4 goals from Quinn Finley, Gavin Morrissey, who scored twice, and another from Cohen. Although Alaska Anchorage scored with 11 seconds left in the second period, Cody Lukowski added another goal 7 minutes and 3 seconds into the third period, sealing a 7-1 victory for Wisconsin. On Saturday night, Alaska Anchorage managed to edge out Wisconsin with a 2-1 victory. The game was quiet until Alaska Anchorage scored on a power play goal with 26 seconds left in the second period, taking a 1-0 lead. Wisconsin was relentless, firing 45 shots on goal. Rylan Morrisley tied the game with 19 seconds left in the third period, sending it to overtime. However, Alaska Anchorage and Wisconsin did not score in overtime, and Alaska Anchorage won 2-1 in shootout. And now, this coming weekend, the men's team takes on number 1 Michigan State. And as for the women's, they've been number 1, and they remain number 1. On Friday, they won 9-0 against the Maine Black Bears. There's really nothing to be said there, just complete dominance from the women's. And on Saturday, they continued their dominance in a 6-1 victory. And that's just kind of what we've learned from the women's hockey team, is that they just dominate. And I would not be surprised if they hang another banner this year. This coming weekend, they play at Minnesota State.
Mike was muted there. Mike was muted on the backside there, but always great stuff from Hunter there. I didn't want to. I know it sometimes will catch microphone stuff there when he's talking, so I muted my mic there and I forgot about it there. But always great stuff from Hunter. The women's team continues to show dominance, 9-0 in a hockey game. That is wow. That is wow. I don't care how bad the other team is or anything like that. That is impressive showing there. So hopefully the women's team keeps on rolling and the men's team continues. I mean, they're getting there, right? But a big test this weekend. So we'll see what happens there. But we'll have Hunter back next week there. He'll recap all them for us, and then he'll give us the preview for the following weekend there. So great stuff from Hunter, as always there. But Aaron, let's get to our fact of the day here real quick. Let's get to our fact of the day. What do we got for this day, December 4th?
Okay, let me give you just 2 options because I don't think it was great. It was not, it was kind of slim pickings today, in my opinion. Do you want a fact about a famous band or a fact about I'm trying to say this without giving it away. Okay, famous band or something that happened in 1791 that, I mean, is it that big of a deal? I don't know, but yeah, take your pick there.
Let's go famous band.
Okay, famous band. What? Huge band. On this day, 1980, Led Zeppelin did disband. So they split up. That's huge. I mean, that's one of those. I mean, a British rock band that just exploded on the scene. 12 years together. And after the death of the drummer, John Boham. So I don't know how he died, honestly. I don't, but I mean that's Led Zeppelin's huge. I mean, they still carry weight today, and yeah, that's just one of those things. I mean, almost every band breaks up at some point, whether it be for greed or death or whatever. But yeah, I'm sure you talk to people that were around for that. They probably remember a band like that splitting up because they were huge on the scene back in that time period.
I don't know if I'm supposed to call that a sad fact of the day right there.
It is. It's unfortunate.
It's a sad one. It's a
sucks,
sad one.
a little bit.
Yeah. So on this day, December 4th, this is a sad time, getting right close towards Christmas and everything like that. And just let's up and end it, boys. We're moving on. We're moving on.
I feel like not that, we'll move on, but like a death in December, it's just tough. That makes it's insult to injury at that point. It really is.
I would agree there. So let's get to the Packers, Lions coming up. A little more exciting there. Let's get to the Packers and Lions here. So these two teams have squared off once already this season. 24-14 was the final there. And the Packers, I mean, it was the normal suspects that killed them, right? It was the turnovers, right? That pick six that Jordan Love threw there. And then also 10 penalties for 67 yards, right? So those are two big things. So you're looking at this next matchup. The Lions are, really beat up in the injury department at this point here. I did see, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, DJ Reader will be out for this game. I was just trying to pull up the Green Bay Packers injury report here, just so I didn't get it wrong. But DJ Reader's out for this game, and I believe there was two other defensive linemen who are going to be out for this game. One second, pulling it up on the backside here. There it is. DJ Reader's out for him. And then I did see Joshua Pascal is out. And then along with Levi Ricky. I don't even know. That's a complicated last name right there. But three defensive linemen. So beat up on the defensive line for this game are the Lions. The Packers will be without, and they did update this now. Jair Alexander will be out for this game. He was limited in practice Monday, Tuesday, did not practice on Wednesday. And then Corey Ballantyne did not practice all week with that knee injury. He's going to be out for this game here. Edgerrin Cooper did not practice all week with that hamstring. He's out. And then Romeo Doubs, he was limited all week at practice, but is still in that concussion protocol, will miss this game against the Lions here. And then Aaron Mosby is unspecified. He's got a game day concussion protocol evaluation is his injury report there. Outside of that, everybody else, they were all practicing. Look like they're going to be a go for this one. So relatively healthy. A couple of bigger guys or bigger name guys on that list there for the Packers with Jair. I believe Jair Alexander has not played against the Lions since 2022. Since that game that they lost at Lambeau with Aaron Rodgers. I believe he hasn't played since then. So it's been a hot minute for Jair Alexander against the Lions. But Jair, it's a big loss because the Packers secondary desperately needs a playmaker out there. And Jair is supposed to be that guy. And well, we see what we get with Jair there. So we'll kind of see what happens with Jair Alexander in the future here with this Green Bay Packers team. But outside of the injury report, Aaron, we're looking at these two teams here. And last time out, the Packers, they had the run game going. We saw the run game going. Josh Jacobs was having himself a pretty darn good day. It's just he was averaging 7 yards per carry. He had 95 yards on 14 carries, so he's averaging 7 a carry. This guy was running the football at will. It's just the Packers kind of set themselves back with that pick six going into halftime, and then the Lions score coming out of halftime. Now we're in a passing offense. We can't really go to Josh Jacobs anymore. Took him out of the game, and essentially from there on out, the Packers were kind of in this limbo kind of thing there. So it sucked, but this time out, I feel like the keys are the same, right? You establish the run game there, establish the run game once again, because when Josh Jacobs is going, this Packers team is going. You got to have that complement in there of the run game to the pass game. I really feel like they got to do it in this one. Also, I'm looking at, I don't know why Matt LaFleur loves to run out of shotgun. I don't know why. Pistol and shotgun are his favorites. Put Jordan Love under center. Put him under center, because when you run your option plays, when you run your screen plays, whatever it is, under center, it adds an element to that. You have that element of the surprise out of that. When you're in that shotgun set, when you're in the pistol, it takes away steps. It takes away certain capabilities that under center does. So if I'm the Packers and Jordan Love's feeling good, you're putting him under center in this game here, because you got to catch the Lions defense off guard there by doing some of that indecisive stuff that you can do under center there. So that's kind of where I'm looking in that area. But I'm also looking at the passing game, and I'm saying to myself, you have to get Tucker Kraft involved, right? We talked about it last week leading up into that game against the Dolphins. We talked about it against the 49ers. We were like, get Tucker Kraft involved. This guy, when he's involved in the passing game, he's a bruiser. This guy can get yards after the catch. He's big time for you when you get him in there. Tucker Kraft has got to get involved in this game here. You have to get him involved. You're without Romeo Dobbs once again there. This is your bailout guy. You still have your playmakers, right? You got Reed, you got Watson in there, hopefully, right? That Wicks plays a big game for you here. And, outside of that, whatever other guys get mixed in there. But I'm looking at Tucker Kraft, I'm looking at Josh Jacobs, and I'm like, these guys have got to be involved inside this offense here. They have to be involved. But the main guy that I'm looking at, and he's a guy that I've seen a lot of people talking about over the past weeks, months, Jordan Love. I'm looking at him going in this game. And everybody's like, you guys wasted money on Jordan Love. He's a waste of a contract. Why'd you pay this much money for a guy who he throws interceptions? He can't do this. He can't do that. In this game, I want Jordan Love to have a coming out party. I want him to have a coming out party. I want him to step up there and deliver a big time game, a big time moment in a big time game. Protect the football, make the throws, be the big time quarterback that we all know, we all watch, we all see that you can be. He has to be that guy in this game. And I think this is the perfect time to show him. Thursday Night Football against the Lions, who are the juggernaut, right? They're the team that's going to win the NFC. Everybody's telling us that. Nobody can touch the Lions. They're going to be this walk-away team. Jordan Love in this game, outduel Jared Goff. Show everybody that you are this top 10 quarterback and that you can be that guy. That's what I'm looking at in this game. I want Jordan Love to do it in this game because if you're what's a bigger moment to do it than when the division, it's on the line in this game, right? You can't lose this game. If the Packers lose this game, the division's out of their reach. They can't reach the Lions anymore because the Lions will have no losses inside of the division there. And they have one loss overall. You're not catching the Lions then if you lose this game because then the Packers would have 3 losses inside division play there to the Vikings, to the Lions twice. You have no head-to-head anymore. You're essentially out. You're out of it then. This is a must win. This is a must win if you are the Green Bay Packers. You're going into Ford Field. It's going to be a tough place to play, but what better place for Jordan Love and this offense to explode than against the Lions, against a team who has Amon-Ra St. Brown, nothing but hate towards the Green Bay Packers, right? He tells us all the time, nothing but hate. What's a better time to show this, a good Lions team, how better your defense is playing as of late? How much better Quay Walker's playing as of late? Isaiah McDuffie stepping up. Some of these guys in the cornerback room. Lucas Van Ness, right? We've seen over the past couple games, some of these guys step up and they're playing bigger roles, right? Lucas Van Ness has played a lot better. Quay Walker has played a lot better. You want to say that they've been against good teams, right? The Dolphins and the 49ers there. I want to see it against the Lions. I want to see Quay Walker have a big moment in this game. I want to see Lucas Van Ness get to Jared Goff in this game, get a big sack, right? Or elsewhere, Kenny Clark, make something happen in this game. Or Rashawn Gary, make something happen. The defensive line is going to be big in this game here. You got to be able to set the tone on that defensive line. And if you are Quay Walker, Isaiah McDuffie, you got 2 very good backs back there with Jahmyr Gibbs and Dave Montgomery. You guys have to play big time here. Because if they get past your level, you got Xavier McKinney behind you. You got Evan Williams, those guys can make tackles for you. I'm not saying they can't make tackles. But I'm sitting there as a linebacker, and I'm saying this is a game I got to feast. Because if you can control the run game for the Lions, make Jared Goff throw the football. Make him throw the football. Because we've seen it. He can be dangerous. We saw it against the Texans. This guy can throw interceptions. It's not like he plays the cleanest of football. Find a way to put pressure on him in this game. Those are going to be some of the big things. Aaron, what are you looking at? Packers, Lions. What are some of the things that you're looking at in this game where you're like, the Packers got to do this to win this game?
Yeah, I think your last point was probably the hit, made me think about the most because the way you look at this Lions team, like you said, I mean, if you can limit the run, like you're never gonna. I mean, it's hard to neutralize.
Stop it. You can't stop
right.
it.
Yeah, I mean, if somehow, I mean, you once in a while you'll see a team just come out and dominate the line, but it's rare. I mean, everybody has been telling us that this Lions team also has the best offensive line. I mean, I think there's a case to be made a couple other teams, but everybody on every network is saying this team has by far the best offensive line. So going into it, you don't expect the Packers or really hardly any teams to completely shut it down. So you want to limit it. Like you said, you want to get push up front. You don't want them to get to the second and third level of your defense consistently. And then you're just like, okay, now they're in pass or now they're in run. Like they can do whatever they want. And that's exactly what you don't want. I think also what you said about Jordan Love. I mean, he has 11 picks on the season. It's not like catastrophically bad. It's not great though. You want to limit those. And against a team like this, it's division game. Like you said, Goff can definitely give you some at will also. Like both these guys have the ability to throw interceptions at will at times. So if you're the Packers, protect the football. I mean, like you said, Josh Jacobs last time he played this team was feasting. I think you establish the run early if you can, and then kind of go from there because, like you said, I mean, if you can run the ball, consistently, that just opens up everything, opens up the play action pass, that type of thing. So I think the Packers are going to come out with the energy that is, hey, this game, means us winning the division or not. I think, that everybody knows that, it's bulletin board material. I mean, Detroit, I expect them to come out as well, just because it's Dan Campbell. Like that's not a team that they could be 11-1, but they have the right psyche. They have the right mindset. It seems like week in and week out. So this will be a battle for sure. I don't think either team's going to have an easy route to victory. I think the Packers are playing well at this time. And obviously the Lions, coming off a shaky, a couple shaky games there a little bit. You expect them to get maybe back on track here too. But I mean, if you're the Packers, like I said, I mean, if Jordan Love's going to throw an interception, hopefully it's only one. If you're the Lions, same thing. Like you don't want, Goff could throw up 3 as well. So protecting the football, kind of the basics, right? Protecting the football. I think the running game is crucial in this game for the Packers. I do think the Lions are kind of due for, because when every media outlet is on top of you like this, usually it's not a great thing for a team because, okay, they lose their second game of the year. It's not the end of the world. It opens the door for the Vikings. It opens the door for the Packers more. But at 11-1, it's like, how are they going to finish the season with 1 loss? That would be kind of shocking, but it's going to be interesting. I mean, these teams match up well. They matched up, pretty well the last time. And the only thing that I think goes against the Packers a little bit is Jared Goff is in the dome. Well, inside, not the dome, but you know what I mean? He's not outside. If he was outside, like the other game, that's where you want him. But he can make mistakes anywhere. It's you split the series if you're the Packers. If you win this game, I that's what I kind of expect here. I mean, 2 comparable teams, division, even though it is on the road, you don't want to lose both games to them. Sometimes you could almost look at that as a positive. You see them in the playoffs. It's like, how in the hell are they going to beat us 3 times, right? But,
yep.
This is right in front of you for the taking. And yeah, hopefully the Packers come out. And like I said, Josh Jacobs could have a monster day. I mean, they found it last time. They just need to find that again. And if that's not working, don't be afraid to kind of still go at it because, he's a guy that can just break tackles at will too. So like you said, Detroit, a lot of injuries right now too. That's something, that's something to be said for that too. So a lot of things going on with that.
Yeah, no, completely agree. And, one thing that I'm looking at too is the red zone for the Packers in this one. 1 for 4 in their first matchup there. The Lions were 2 for 4. So cleaning up that red zone, win in the red zone. You get there, make things happen, right? You got to. And then also, I did not mention in that injury report there, you were talking about the offensive line for the Lions there. Taylor Decker, the offensive tackle there, he's not expected to play. He's not expected to play in this one. He's out for this game. So attacking that offensive line, constantly getting pressure on Jared Goff is going to be huge because when he does make a mistake, the Lions do get vulnerable. They do get vulnerable. Look at that game against the Texans. They got vulnerable in that game, and it took late heroics to win that one, and the Texans completely just falling apart late in that game for them to win that one. Outside of that, the Texans had that one in the bag, so there's been opportunities to beat this team. It's just teams aren't able to pull it out, right? And maybe the Packers find that in this one here. So winning in the red zone is going to be a big one for the Packers in this one. And then also, we've been alluding to it this whole time, but it goes without even saying, the turnover battle. You cannot afford to turn the football over in this game against this team. And the pre-snap penalties, man, between the pre-snap penalties and the turnovers, those are the biggest backbreakers for any team out there. And that will kill this team. So you have to hold your water in this game. You cannot afford the pre-snap penalties and the turnovers that could come with it. So we're watching those two as big things in this one. But all in all, like you said, I don't see the Lions. I see them as the best team in the NFC, but actually I don't even see them as that anymore. I watch the Eagles and it's just like, With the injuries that the Lions have right now, you could almost say the Eagles are the most complete team at this moment. But if the Lions did not have those injuries, then you could say the Lions are the most complete team at this moment. Right now, the Eagles are playing like the best team. So, I mean, right now, between the Eagles and Lions, they're like 1A, 1B to see who the best team is in the NFC. But the Packers, I mean, they're that tier 2. They're right behind them. It's not like they're far off in the distance. They're right there. It's just, when can this Packers team, because truthfully, I don't believe we've seen this Packers team play to their full potential to this point, even against the Dolphins. I thought there was things in the Dolphins game where I was like, if they just did this, or if something else, I haven't seen the Packers play to what I believe is their full potential yet. And if they get there, when it all comes together, this could be a very dominant team. This could be a scary team for a team like the Eagles or a team like the Lions. This is a game where you come in, you show them on their field, hey, we're a hard-nosed. The biggest thing and the biggest knock on Matt LaFleur's teams have been they're kind of soft. They don't play tough, right? They don't play tough. Put it in this game. Outclass them. Out tough the Detroit Lions. It's tough. I mean, we're talking about tough here. It's really tough because you got Dan Campbell talking to them guys over there. But get fired up in this one. Play tough. Play discipline. Get the job done. I really do think the Packers could win this game against the Lions here on Thursday night and set themselves up pretty good for the home stretch. You got that win now. Now you're banking on somebody else knocking off the Lions there, and then you get a head-to-head to see what you do there. But you're setting yourself up for a pretty good end of the season there. Right now, the Lions are favored 60 to about 40 between the two there for the Lions and Packers game there on ESPN. The spread is at 3.5 right now, 3.5. Aaron, what do we think? Packers, Lions, who comes out on top?
I guess I sound like a Packers homer this season. I picked them a lot on your show. I do think the Packers pull this one off. I mean, I think there's just so much, like you said. I mean, Dan Campbell will get them motivated to play the Cardinals if the Cardinals were 4-6. Like, I don't doubt that they'll come out ready to play. I just feel like the Packers will make more plays offensively. I think Jacobs will have a good game. Probably going to put down like something on him just scoring a touchdown. I mean, that's simple, but like I just feel like they're going to go to him often, early, and throughout. So, I mean, I think the Packers pull this out. And the Lions are favored in this one, like you said. Not surprised. I mean, it's a home game for the Lions, but second time seeing them, and they got you in your building, so that's a little bit like salty taste in your mouth, I think. If the Packers won the one in Lambeau, maybe I expect them to drop this one. But I feel like going to Detroit, division on the line, they're gonna be coming out firing. So I'll take the Packers. I think it will be close. I mean, this game sets up to be really close. So maybe they cover this, or I'm sorry, maybe the Packers win by 3, but I don't think it's like 10. I really don't. I'd be very surprised. So yeah, give me the Packers. So they split the season series. Then it's kind of a race to the finish of the division. And obviously you don't count out the Vikings, but I still think it's going to be the Packers or it's going to be the Lions. And I think we both picked the Packers to win the division at the beginning of the year, which is not out of reach, obviously, right now. So
yeah, it could still happen. It could still happen, as we do see Marquette lose to Iowa State. So sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but right now, baby, we won. So we're good. We're good. I'm just kidding. Marquette fans out there. I'm sorry. We both have one loss now. So Marquette fans cannot give Wisconsin fans so much crap for having a loss on that record when it comes to Saturday. Now 2 1-loss teams battling on Saturday there in Milwaukee. So it should be a good one there. But I mean, I agree 100%. And I like the Josh Jacobs take. I think you use Josh Jacobs too to control that time of possession. Because if he's averaging 7 yards a pop like he was in that last time out, you just ride it, man. You just keep on going with Josh Jacobs. He's a workhorse. And I know, yes, you don't want to like overwork. You don't want to get this guy like beat up and tired and broken or anything like that. But if your run game is working, if it's working, don't go away from it. Don't do anything crazy. I don't need crazy in this one. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Work the ball down the field. Get in the red zone. When you get there, finish it. Just finish it there. Let Brandon McManus walk out there with his smug-looking self. I mean, Brandon McManus is the most, like, I don't want to say cocky. Like, that dude walks onto a field, and he goes and he kicks a football, and it goes through the uprights, and then he just walks off. Like, it's just like he's the most like nonchalant dude that's ever kicked a football. Like it's like boom, okay, done. Like he doesn't smile. He's got this beard going on right now. Doesn't smile. Just walks out there, lines it up. All right, bam, kicks it through. All right, see you later. Like he's just, it's awesome. It's just awesome. Like this dude's got some kind of swagger to him that I don't know about. Some of these kickers, man, they're different there, but I like it. I like the Packers. I want to say a touchdown. I think they could win it by a touchdown. I think they could win it by a touchdown here. I like the Packers in this one. Control the time of possession. Get that defense hot. Get some pressure on Jared Goff. Maybe force a turnover here or not, and see what happens to this one. I like the Packers to come out on top here and tighten up that division race a little bit. Maybe make the Vikings feel a little bit, like they're like, hey, we can catch the Lions now. Maybe we beat them up for the Packers there, and the Packers beat the Vikings there, and it all works out, right? It'd just be some wild. It'll be wild. It'd just be everybody beats the Bears. That's all that matters. Everybody beats them.
Yep.
But somehow the Bears are not mathematically eliminated from anything at this point here. So we'll see what happens with the Bears there. But I mean, should be a good one tomorrow night there, 7:15 Prime Video. Kirk Herbstreit will probably be on there. Al Michaels should be a good one. Al Michaels, right? He's the one on Thursday night. So should be a good matchup there between those two. But Aaron, before we wrap it up here, we're going to fly through a list real fast. We're going to fly through a list. NFL teams, who's actually got a shot? Who's actually got a shot to be a AFC contender? We'll start with the AFC. Who's actually got that shot there? So let's start out top of the list. Kansas City Chiefs. Do they got a shot to be an AFC contender?
Yeah, that goes without saying, unfortunately. I mean, I don't even say unfortunately. I mean, I don't hate him as much as the next guy, but it's, obviously it's annoying, but they do.
They know how to win. Andy Reid's a heck of a head coach. He is a heck of a head coach, and Patrick Mahomes knows how to make it happen in any circumstance. I mean, we saw when Baker Mayfield had him on the ropes and they did the coin flip and he lost the coin flip, and you could just see it. He's like, crap. Like, here we go. Like, it's just, you just know he knows how to get it done in crunch time, and it's just how they're built. It's just how they're built. So Kansas City Chiefs, definitely a yes. Buffalo Bills.
See, now they're another team that's getting a lot of gas right now. A lot. They're getting all pumped up.
Rightfully so. If Josh Allen continues on this trend, he could be the MVP. If he beats the Lions, he's definitely my MVP.
Yeah, I mean, you got to say right now. I mean, I am one of those people that I know the Eagles only have one Super Bowl, yada yada yada, but like. I am not a lover of the Bills franchise over the years. And even in the Josh Allen era, like they have yet to get to a Super Bowl. So they are a contender. Now, am I going to have confidence they're going to beat the likes of, the Chiefs or, we'll talk about some other teams. I still probably feel like they'll come up short, getting to the Super Bowl. But, I mean, they are a damn good football team so far. Like you said, Josh Allen playing great. So right now, yes, they are a contender, but I always have my doubts of like, okay, do they ever actually get over like the big hump, when it comes to the playoffs? So yes, right now they are, but I'm not picking them to go to like win the Super Bowl yet, and we'll see.
I agree. They're a scrappy football team. They don't have a lot of household names or anything like that, but they get the job done. And Josh Allen's playing phenomenal this season. He was playing phenomenal even before Amari Cooper got there, which is impressive because he was like the Giants wide receiver core out there. Like you couldn't name half the guys that were out there, and he's still getting it done. So, I mean, he's played impressive. They've been impressive so far. So we'll see what happens there. Pittsburgh Steelers coming at 9-3. What do you think about the Pittsburgh Steelers?
That's a really, I heard a stat. I think it was yesterday. I forget. I think LaShawn McCoy and those guys were talking about it. I forget what show that's on. But the Steelers are scoring more points under the Russell Wilson, during the Russell Wilson games that he's played, I guess era you want to call it, than like when they won the Super Bowl with Big Ben back in the day. I think it was the Seattle Super Bowl that they won. Whatever, it was a long time ago. But I think they're averaging 29. They were averaging 27, which is kind of crazy. I mean, even still, it doesn't feel like that. I know Russ has been playing good as well, but it just doesn't feel. It feels like I don't know. I have my doubts about their O-line when it comes down to like a crazy pass rush. But I mean, I think they're going to win the NFC North at this point. Baltimore, after that loss to the Eagles, that's a big loss. Are they a contender for the Super Bowl? I mean, you never know. That defense is pretty much elite at this point. Joey Porter Jr., I saw him at Penn State. That guy has got to stop committing 8 million pass interferences. He did it at Penn State, so I thought he would do it like this in the NFL. Good corner when he doesn't grab everybody, and he tends to do that a lot. So obviously TJ Watt, like the defense is loaded, but they're a contender. Once again, are they in the tier of like the Bills right now? I think they are. I don't think they're like ascending to beat the Chiefs, but I mean, hey, defense, the old saying, defense can win championships for you. So that would be interesting. I mean, I think they're a contender. How far do they go? It's really a question mark, though, to me.
Their defense is good enough that when Kansas City plays themselves into a game where they kind of just are walking through it, that defense can stop. They can get a stop. So that's the kryptonite to what the Chiefs are. So we'll see what the Steelers do. I like the Steelers. I think they could beat the Kansas City Chiefs. So I guess what we're looking at is who could beat the Kansas City Chiefs at this point here. So, I mean, I like the Bills to beat the Chiefs. I think they can. Josh Allen has proven it in the regular season. He hasn't proven it in the postseason yet, but I feel like they could beat the Chiefs. I feel like the Steelers could beat the Chiefs. That defense is good enough, and Russell Wilson does just enough. Like, he doesn't do anything crazy, right? This last game out against the Bengals, he lit up the stat column because the Bengals defense sucks. But outside of that, I mean, he doesn't do anything crazy anymore like he used to, but he's just solid. He just does what he's got to do to get the job done. So we'll see kind of what the Steelers do here down the stretch. I know they have a date there with the Chiefs later on this year, so we'll see kind of how.
And the Eagles,
the Eagles. So we'll see how those two matchups work out. Those should be pretty good games there. Two pretty good defenses, pretty good offenses. Well, I wouldn't say really good offense with the Steelers, but still a good offense with the Steelers and a Saquon Barkley-led offense by the Eagles there. And we'll see what kind of happens there. But let's fly through the rest of these here. Texans, what do we think about Texans? They're going to win that division. But outside of that, I feel like it's old AFC South time right now where even the AFC South winner is kind of just like they're in it because they won that craptastic division.
Yeah, it's almost like win by default. It's just not great. So, yeah, I think this is a step back year. I kind of thought, maybe Stroud would have that, but I don't even know if it's his fault per se. That O-line has been horrible for them. So, they're a contender as far as like, they're a playoff team. That's about it, though. I don't think if they made a run this year, even though like the AFC Championship, I'd be shocked. They're not the same team. They have to address the holes that they have now in this offseason. But they're a playoff team. That's about it to me.
They're a team that could get hot. Guys getting hurt has not helped. Nico Collins was out for a little bit. Stephon Diggs is now out for the season. I mean, it hasn't helped them out at all to get kind of continuity or anything like that. But kind of wait and see what as Pat Connaughton turns it over. Why is he even in there? I saw that they're undefeated when he does not play. Why is he even out there? We've been winning this game as he gets a block then too on the other end. You turn it over, you get a block on the other end. I guess you make up for your craptastic play. Giannis. All right. Either way. All right, let's fly through the rest of these here. We got about 3 more to go here. Chargers, what do we think? Chargers, are they a contender or are they
They're a contender. I think, I put them above the Texans. I don't think even they're yet Steelers conversation, like, for a real contender. But, I mean, their defense has shown that it's gotten better. I mean, I think Herbert looks better with Harbaugh there. I mean, they're a decent team, no doubt about it. I just think they're a year, maybe 2 years away from being like – I could see them in the AFC Championship sooner than later, which is good for them. I mean, they've had a rough go at it for a while. I mean, even with Phillip Rivers, they didn't get a lot done there. So, I just think they're not quite there yet.
Yeah, no, I would agree. It's close though. I mean, they can ball with the best of them. They can play with the best of them there. They got a pretty good run game, and I mean, Jim's doing great stuff. Jim Harbaugh is doing great stuff with them right now, and he's building it like he would a college team. He's starting with the offensive line. He's building pieces in there, and you like that. You like that kind of model that he's got there. So hopefully, we see some good things moving forward. The Baltimore Ravens, surprising to see that team down in the 6th spot right now.
So I will say, against the Eagles, even their defense has gotten better in like the last 3 to 4 weeks, which that was like, wow, their defense is horrible. Like at times this year, you watch them and you're like, it's been it's been like probably a decade since I've seen a Ravens defense get picked apart the way it has. I still don't trust them to fully get it together defensively to like be elite. or even like great. I think they'll be, they'll find a way to keep the team in the game. O-line to me has always kind of been, even in the Lamar era, I don't know about the run. The run protection's usually pretty good. Usually, the pass protection, I think Lamar, not to let him off the hook, but he's that pass protection's never been that great. So I think this is kind of a down year. I mean, that's not even talking about how Justin Tucker has completely lost himself out there at times this year. I mean, I think he has the yips or he's done, one of the two. This season, it might be a wash for him. But yeah, I think they're not playing cohesively, whether it be because of the coordinator changes or what, but they're a playoff team. They could win a playoff game, I think. Them and Pittsburgh in the playoffs would be fun. I would love to see that, but yeah, I don't think they're I don't think their shot was last year knocking off the Chiefs. I don't think it's this year.
Yeah, I would agree with that there. Last up, Broncos. What do we think?
Yeah, I mean, you never count them out. Bo Nix is playing well. I mean, you've seen that like 100-yard pass the other night against the Browns there. But I think, once again, that's kind of like a Chargers-style team as far as they're a couple weeks away. I don't trust their defense. I mean, Jameis Winston balled out on that defense, and not to take it away from him, but he's not exactly elite. So I think their defense will cost them a game in the playoffs. They're a couple years away, I still think.
All right. So that's our AFC. We could do the Colts and Dolphins and Bengals and everything, but whatever. No. We'll get over them here. Let's flip to the NFC here. I mean, the first two, Lions, Eagles. I'm going to go yes on the both of them. I think they're both contenders. Saquon's playing fantastic with Jalen Hurts with Saquon. That's a dynamic duo right there. I think it hurts a lot of teams right there. So I like the Eagles. Lions, it goes without saying. I mean, they have weapons up to galore. They have depth up to galore when they're healthy. And right now they're not healthy, but they should get healthy. And I like the Lions too. So I'm going to go Lions and Eagles both yes.
Yeah, me too. I mean, just for the same reasons you said. I still, I'm a little bit worried if the game went, if they're dropping Jalen Hurts back 35 times a game, 35, 45 times a game. But until the running game doesn't work, that's where they're at right now. They're playing good ball. And Vic Fangio has made a world of, I haven't seen an Eagles defense like this in probably 15 years. I kid you not. So you got to say right now, the Eagles, obviously the Lions too. I mean, they're playing great ball, best record in the NFC. So, it'll be interesting to see. I've always thought maybe Jared Goff could come unraveled at some point. But I mean, the game, the NFC Championship last year, I think it was more so Dan Campbell than Goff. Maybe this time around, Dan Campbell kind of takes it easy on the crazy, going for every fourth down. But both teams are playing good right now for sure.
Yeah, completely would agree with you there. And I mean, Zach Bond, former Badger there on that Eagles defense, he has been balling out this season there, leads them in tackles. He's got a couple sacks, he's got at least 6 tackles for loss. He's fantastic. So Eagles defense, that secondary was the question mark, and they've definitely stepped up as of late here. So Eagles, Lions, definitely in there. Seahawks and Falcons. Those are your 3 and 4 right now. I gotta be honest with you. I don't truthfully like, if I was going to pick an NFC West team that I was like, this team is the scariest one to me, I would say the Rams. Just because I am more scared of Matt Stafford with Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp than I am of Geno Smith and I know DK Metcalf is great. I believe Lockett's still up there. And then they got Smith Najigba up there too. I mean, they have a fantastic receiver core. Don't get me wrong. If they had Matthew Stafford, I think they'd be twice as good as what they are. I just don't trust Geno Smith. So I am out on Geno Smith there. So I'm going to say the Seahawks, if they're going to be a contender, they're a sneaky contender. And then I look at the Falcons and I say Kirk Cousins is not enough. And they're talking about Michael Penix right now. I just don't see. I honestly, if I'm picking contenders in the NFC, I'm NFC North and I'm the East. I am nowhere else in the NFC right now.
Yeah, no, the NFC, I mean, this is a weird year because obviously the Niners aren't in it. So now it's like the battle of what's left, and the Rams are not the Super Bowl Rams of years past. But I do agree with you. I mean, just based on, quarterback, receiving core, just together, the cohesive group, I think the Rams are far and above the best. I mean, I have some weird. I don't want to get too long on this, but I have some weird theory I've been thinking about the last couple of days. I wanted to tell you. I mean, what if it wouldn't work? But if like Aaron Rodgers went to Seattle, I just have some weird like inclining that he's not going to come back to the Jets. I feel like eventually they'll say, you know what, this didn't work. We're smarter than that. We're not very smart, but we're not letting that happen again. And then, I mean, like I said, that offense or those receivers, like you said, I mean, I still think it would fail, but like maybe they shoot their shot there because, I mean, when they signed Geno Smith, I was like, don't like he had a good year, credit to him, but he's not. It's like Kirk Cousins, like he's never going to win you anything. Unfortunately, I mean, he's a good dude, I like him, but he's like a Jameis Winston to me. Like he's not putting you in contention to win, big things. So like you said, yeah, no on Seattle. Yes, if the Rams find a way, but and then who would you say somebody else in that division?
Falcons.
Yeah. Or another, the other seed there. No, they have no shot to me. No, absolutely no shot with Kirk Cousins right now. No.
That could be the biggest letdown because they have a lot of weapons on that team. And to see
it
all fail, that's definitely something there. So next up, we have two NFC North teams, Packers and Vikings. Vikings in the 5th spot right now, Packers in the 6th spot right now. I honestly, I have them both as contenders. The Vikings, not as much because of Sam Darnold, but because of Aiden. Not Aiden. Is it Aiden O'Connell? Am I thinking of the right guy here right now? Or am I
no, Addison, right?
No, I'm thinking. What's the head coach's name?
Yeah. Shoot.
It's not Aiden O'Connell. It's Kevin O'Connell.
Kevin O'Connell. Yeah,
Kevin O'Connell. I think he's fantastic. I think Brian Flores is fantastic. And then I look at the Packers and I say, I love what I see out of the offense a little bit more as of late. And I love what I see out of Jeff Hafley's defense. I think the Packers are contenders. So I have the Packers and I also have the Vikings.
Yeah. I think even more so the Packers are a contender. Like you said, I mean, give me Jordan Love 7 days a week and twice on Sundays compared to Darnold there for sure. I think that'll be there. That's where they'll fall apart. They're a contender right now. I mean, I think they're a playoff team still. Even down the stretch, they find a way. But the Packers' ceiling is much higher, exponentially higher to me than the Vikings.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I like what I see out of Kevin O'Connell, and I think he's a great head coach. And I think what he's done with Sam Darnold to this point has been nothing but fantastic. And I think he's got his own way, and he fixes guys, and I love what I see out of him. So, and I don't like the Vikings, but I'm giving a lot of praise here. I do think the Vikings will be a contender. They're a contender. I don't know if they're a Super Bowl team, but they're definitely a contender in there. Last up, we could throw 2 in here. Well, let's just throw last up here. Commanders. We have the Commanders in there right now because that's going to round out our top 7 right now. Washington Commanders, they've struggled as of late. Jaden Daniels is getting healthy. I think they got the gut punch that they needed to kind of fix it all, or hopefully fix it all. I think they're a year away. I think they can be a team that can make some noise. I think they can, they have an explosive offense when they get it going. I think they can be a team that makes some noise. I just don't see them as a legit contender at this moment.
Yeah. I mean, coming off a win against a bad Titans team. I mean, Levis didn't, long story short, Titans turned the ball over twice. So you look at that 42, it's a little inflated with those 2 turnovers. I mean, Daniels played well. Like you said, he's getting healthy. Like you said, I mean, I think they're a year away. They're kind of, they're finding their way. Dan Quinn, long-term, I don't know if that'll end well. I mean, not many people end well in Atlanta. Like he was in Atlanta. That didn't work. So I think the organization's doing the right thing. New ownership. Washington desperately needed this. Like the old ownership, it felt like wasn't going to win anything for them. It just wasn't working. So I give them a fair chance, in seasons to come. But like you said, I think they're a year, maybe 2 away. But yeah, surprise. I mean, they're having a surprising year regardless. Like, I don't think anybody really thought they'd be this. People thought Jane Daniels would be good, but even with some rookie struggles, they're treading water. They're doing all right. So not this year, but some upcoming year.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think they're definitely going to be a team to compete for that NFC East, and it's good. It really is good. Like the NFC North now, If the Bears figure it out, you have a competitive North. If the Commanders stay hot, the Cowboys, I believe, are going to figure it out, right? So the Cowboys figured out. You have the Eagles yet, and then you have the Commanders in there too messing around. I mean, you have 3 teams out there. The NFC West, if, the 49ers ever get healthy, and that thing's going to blow up eventually. So we'll wait and see what really transpires there. But, I mean, they'll probably make some moves here and there to make something of the mess. I mean, that could be a good division too. So there's a lot of hope for some competitive divisions across the board here moving forward. So, Aaron, I mean, we passed our hour 30 mark. We're getting close to 2-hour mark here. Anything else you got here before we wrap it up for the night?
I don't think so. I'm definitely glad we got to the golden batter, or the golden at bat, I should say, whatever it is, because that's a really polarizing thing right now. I think it's good. I'll put it this way. I think it's good that baseball is getting some limelight when it's the NFL playoff race. It's college football playoffs are like right here. And at least baseball is being talked about. So if I hate Manfred for anything else, at least we got some attention on baseball. So I can't necessarily hate that. I can hate the idea for sure, but that's been kind of crazy. That definitely has been.
No, and like you said, it brings a good light on. Well, maybe not a good light, but it brings a lot of people. Right? It brings a lot of people out of the woodworks of the winter there to start yelling about something. So we kind of like it in that stretch there. But I mean, lots of good college basketball games happening tonight here. I mean, it's the ACC. It's the ACC SEC Challenge. It started yesterday night, continuing tonight. So a lot of good games. Watching Duke and Auburn right now. Great game there. Alabama and North Carolina's on before that. UConn did get a win, so Dan Hurley can be happy again. They finally got a win against Baylor there. That was a big matchup, 76-74. Marquette did drop that game to Iowa State. So a lot of good games happening yet. A lot of good games moving forward there. We'll be back on Friday. We're going to talk about the Badgers-Marquette game coming up on Saturday. We're going to recap this Packers and Lions matchup there. We're going to preview the rest of the NFL weekend. We're going to look at all the bowl games, or not the bowl games, but the championship games in college football. We'll look at some college basketball. We're going to look all across the landscape and see what happens there. And then we'll also maybe look at some college football there, look at the Badgers a little bit more. We'll look all across the landscape there. So with that, for Aaron and myself, this has been Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll catch you guys back here on Friday. But until then, see ya.